you ever looked at a friendship in your life and thought something is different? The friendship isn't necessarily bad, nothing dramatic has happened, but the friendship is not the same either. Conversations with this person doesn't flow the way that it used to. The connection feels thinner, and you can't necessarily explain why the friendship itself is changing. So you start wondering, did something happen? Did I do something wrong? Are we drifting again? Hi, my name is Pearl, and this is Living with Intention. Here we talk about building a life that is meaningful, not just productive. And today I want to talk about something that we don't just say out loud, which is why some friendships don't feel like they used to and what that actually means. One of the biggest misconceptions about friendships is if something changes in my friendship, then something must be wrong with the friendship. But that's not always true. Sometimes nothing is wrong with the friendship per se. There's not been any argument, there's not been any betrayal, and both friends have not had the conversation that the friendship has ended. And yet, something has shifted. This is because friendships are with people, and people are not static. People grow, people change, people stretch, and sometimes people outgrow the version of you that they were built around. I find that in my own life, I have entered into seasons where the friends that I had going into that season did not leave that season with me. Guys, not everything that changes has an issue or is broken. Sometimes something is changing so that it can become something different. And that difference is not necessarily bad. It could actually become something different and more beautiful than what existed before. When you look back at your friendships, you realize that some of these friendships started at a very, very particular version of your life. Sometimes these are people that you meet in school, at university. Sometimes these are people that you work with. And some other times you just meet people while you're in a certain season of your life that person is also experiencing. I remember one of my very close friends now, and we both met during a breakup, and I really think that shared experience, that shared season is what made us build such a solid bond. Funny thing is, as you're going through that season with that person, you connect so easily. You laugh the same way, you want similar things in life at that moment. You kind of understand each other without even trying. But here is the part of friendship we don't pay attention to. Seasons change, and as those seasons change, you grow. Your priorities change, your values become deeper, your pace in life becomes different. And what you find in your friendship is that suddenly things that connected you with this friend aren't as strong anymore. Not because the friendship wasn't real or the person was being fake or the friendship wasn't deep enough, but because you are not the same person you used to be. In a previous video, I spoke about misalignment and how it comes very subtly and quietly. This is similar with friendships. Misalignment in friendships is also not always very loud. It doesn't always come with conflict or a big confrontation. Sometimes it just looks like you and this friend talking less, and even when you do speak, it kind of feels like the conversation is forced, and it also looks like feeling drained after interactions with this person, or a quiet realization that you don't necessarily feel seen or understood by this person anymore. And because nothing dramatic has happened and there's been no confrontation, we ignore these signs. You tell yourself, it's not that serious, or maybe I'm the one overthinking it. But this is a way that we gaslight ourselves. Your emotions matter, and your emotional experience is information you should not ignore. All your emotions are trying to tell you is that this friendship does not fit who you are anymore. Now I'm going to talk about the pressure that some of us feel internally to maintain our friendships, no matter how draining or harmful they have become. The reason why it feels difficult to let go of this kind of friendships is that we have been taught that friendships should last long and should remain exactly as they are. That if you're truly a good person, you should hold on to your friends no matter how differently your life looks in comparison to when you had first started the friendship. We feel this pressure that we must keep showing up the same way for our friends as we have always shown up. But first of all, not all friendships are meant to last forever. And secondly, not all friendships are supposed to stay exactly the same way. Some friendships are seasonal, some are foundational. I call these the for lifers and the for a season friendships. And some friendships are somewhere in the middle. They start at a very different season of your life, and as you grow older, these friendships evolve as you evolve. This is a very rare kind of friendship. But one thing is sure, holding on too tightly to what a friendship used to be or what a friendship used to feel like will only create tension, not peace. Living with intention looks like allowing those friendships to shift and evolve and not forcing them to remain the same as they've always been. As human beings, we have an adverse reaction to change. What our brains tell us when we're experiencing something new or something outside of our comfort zone is that that thing is dangerous. And so we subconsciously do everything within our power to keep things exactly as they are. But this could be more harmful than helpful. It reminds me of a meme that I saw a long time ago of someone holding onto a rope, and the rope kept pulling and this person held on tighter. And what happened was that instead of the rope to cut in two, the person's hands began to scar. And this is what we look like holding on to something that's no longer a part of the path we are currently on. I actually believe that there's a certain maturity that comes with this realization. Not every friendship requires a dramatic ending, and not every shift requires confrontation. Sometimes it's okay to allow a friendship become lighter. And I'm not saying you need to cut this person off or stop talking to them altogether. I'm saying that it's okay for you to allow your friendships go through seasons without trying to force it into the same box it always occupied. So the calls can become less frequent without it affecting the way that you feel about each other. The conversations can be less intense without you feeling like you're drifting away from this person. And all of this can happen without resentment or guilt. Why? Because you have the understanding that the love is still the same, the care remains deep, but that you're just both in different seasons of your life. And who knows, maybe a time in the future will come where that friendship can be rekindled and it can burn the way it had always felt in the past. But until that happens, try and push away or push aside the pressure to maintain the friendship and keep it the same way it has always been. Releasing the pressure does not mean that you've never cared about this person or that you didn't value the connection. Just means you're allowing the friendship to exist in a way that feels honest, easy, and light. I want to recommend a book for anyone who might be going through a similar season in their life with their friends. And this book is called The Four Loves. It was written by C.S. Lewis a very long time ago. And it talks about the four different kinds of love we experience as human beings. It touches on affection, it touches on friendship, it touches on erotic love, and also the love of God. And I think it's chapters 3 to 6 that touch on friendship. And what C.S. Lewis says is that we need to allow our friends have the same level of grace we allow all the rest of the people in our lives have. We need to allow them evolve, grow, and change without it being an affront to the connection that we share with these people. Separation from our friends don't necessarily mean that that friendship has failed. Sometimes the friendship has done exactly what it was supposed to do for us, to align us to purpose and to put us exactly where we needed to be. And so, in a way, this kind of separation is just a redirection so that both people can go on to the paths that are delineated for their lives. So if you've been feeling any kind of similar shift in your friendships, I'm making this video to make you understand that you're not a failure as a friend, and it's not disloyalty to feel this type of way. You're just growing, and growth changes how we connect to our friends and even to our environment at large. The goal for you should not be to hold on to every friendship exactly the way it had always been. Goal is for you to constantly build friendships and relationships in general that align with who you are becoming. So instead of asking, why doesn't it feel the same with this friend as it's always felt, I'll present you with another question to ask yourself, which is, what is this friendship becoming? If this resonated with you, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you're ready to build more intentional and meaningful friendships, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. This video is going to be the first in a 4-part series about friendship. And if you're not subscribed, then you're going to miss out on very, very vital information, and your friendships are going to be baseless, and you have bad friendships. Okay, you won't have bad friendships, but still subscribe so that you can watch every single video in that series. My goal with this series is to give you all the tools to build meaningful friendships that feel like home. Until I come your way next time, bye. Mwah!